Alright, welcome back. Fate Stay Night, Heavens Feel. Alright, today is a good day. Today is a good day. I got back from the theater. I just saw the third movie. It was great. The only thing I was wishing was that I had taken the time to rewatch the first and second movies, or had gotten through this visual novel a little bit further, as I feel like it really could have used the momentum from the second movie. Waiting a year and a half, more closer to 2 years really, for the third movie takes some of the wind out of the sails of it, as it's really like a part two of the second movie. It doesn't stand on its own very well, but it is very good in conjunction with its other uh, pieces. Which, I mean, it's a trilogy, so it was a dedicated trilogy, so it's not necessarily fair to judge it entirely on those grounds, the grounds of a standalone movie. But here, I think you should at least mention that. Although somehow, I know not one but two people who've seen this movie, despite having no interest in the Fate franchise. One of them is my mom, by the way. She just went because my brother was going, and was like, well, I want to tag along with you because the road's not safe. And thus she's seen it, and she thought it was really good. So apparently it's good even to people who don't really go out of their way to watch anime. Which is surprising because it's crazy confusing if you've never seen any Fate stuff. But alright, onto the source material. Let's read some Heavens Feel. We're on day 2. And let's get started. As I said during the previous part, I'm not going to be doing any more skipping, as I feel like it takes away from the experience. Even though we're going to be repeating a lot, since there is some unique scenes interspersed in this, it doesn't really work to just skip right to the new content. It leaves me feeling like there's holes in the plot. So I'm gonna read this. Alright. 20 minutes after taking the bus from my school, I arrive at the neighboring town of Shinto across the bridge.
なんだ、まだ5時前か。少し時間があるな。
This is a new scene, by the way, so it's not like we're wasting very much time. In fact, a lot of the scenes there's a solid chunk of new scenes. Maybe, I think 30% of the scenes at least are new. Like today, we've had 2 old scenes, and then the rest are all new. That's pretty good. And we like skipped one of them, so doesn't really count. Alright. Miyama City is a residential district, so there's no part-time jobs there, but the developing Shinto has many available. The school approves of students having part-time jobs, so I work a few easy ones. I prefer hard physical labor that ends as quickly as possible. It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone, as it builds my body while I get paid for it. Today's job is a simple loading job from 5 to 8 o'clock. Even though it's only 3 hours, there's 6 hours worth of work to do. They make you run around without a minute's rest. Sounds like working in an Amazon warehouse, to be honest. But Amazon wasn't around then, so probably not that. Definitely not global, at least then. So, I should rest when I can, even if it's just for 10 minutes. It's a waste of energy walking around until my job, so I guess I'll rest in the park. Oh, this is actually like a repeat scene from the other road. It leads into a new scene. My bad. This park among the buildings is like a big field, because this is very familiar. A park should be filled with people, like families and lovers on weekends, but it's empty here now. No. This place is always desolate.
相変わらずだな、ここは。
I'm a bit sad. The utterly neglected ground looks awful compared to the neatly organized surroundings. The desolate area makes the wind feel cold. This is the remains of the conflagration 10 years ago, and this is the place where I was saved from burning to death.
なんで芝生とか植えないんだろう。いつまでもこのままってのはもったいない。
It's a large area, so if they retiled it, the park would get bigger. Thinking absent-mindedly, I sit down on a bench. I stare at the burned land to pass the time. I don't remember what happened here back then. I probably don't remember because I was a kid and it wouldn't have been easy to memorize the scene. All I can remember is that it was hot and I couldn't breathe. And that people died trying to save
どう
others.
してそうなのかな。
For example, an adult that tried to save a child from a burning house. He saved the child but died in its place. For example, there were people who had their throats burned, but they gave what little water they had to one guy, and the others died. For example, there was someone who ran alone to get away from the fire as fast as possible, and everyone he passed on the way died. And for example, people who died because they gave away something that was saving them, only to save others they didn't even know. I didn't like things like that. It makes me mad that those who tried were sacrificed. Am I greedy, who want an ending where everybody is safe and happy? All I wanted was to see people relax peacefully, so why couldn't I manage such a simple thing?
それは難しい。シロの言っていることは誰も彼も救うということだからね。
Hiritsugu answered so to the question I asked as a child. Right, what he wants is to save everyone. It's very difficult. Of course, as a child, I denied it. Because Kiritsugu saved me. I knew he was a sorcerer who could do anything. I knew he was a superhero who couldn't ignore people in need, who saved them for no benefit. So I believed Kiritsugu could have saved everyone back then. When I told him that, he made a troubled expression and said something that I remember to this day.
シロ、誰かを救うということは誰かを助けないということなんだ。いいかい？正義の味方に助けられるのはね、正義の味方が助けた者だけなんだよ。
Seems obvious.
だけど、これが正義の味方の定義なんだ。
Seems obvious, but evidently not to everyone. I understand that. Can't save everyone. Does he? Does Shiro really understand that? I don't think he understands it yet. It's obvious now that he's said it. Let's say there's a robber and some hostages, and the robber intends to kill the hostages. With normal methods, most of the hostages will be killed. Even if you use a miraculous method to save all the hostages, there will still be one person who isn't saved. That, of course, is the robber whose hostages were rescued. People a superhero saves are only those he decides to save. That's why even God cannot save everyone.
それが天才ならなおさらだ。誰であろうと全てを助けるなんてできなかった。
The fire 10 years ago was like that. It's not something I, who was miraculously saved from it, can talk about now.
けど嫌だ。
I don't want such a thing. I don't want that. I don't want help that has a limited capacity. You have to help, no matter how impossible it is. I can't stand to have strangers dying around me like that. Like that. I would have gone into the fire and
そのまま無駄死
I'd
にして
been
た
there
の
for 10
は
years ago, even if it was
間違
impossible.
いなく。
Yeah, that's right, Shiro. You would have died in vain. That's for certain. Jeez, I'm hopeless.
しまった。ぼんやりしてたら5時になっちまった。
The 5 o'clock bell rings. Oh, better hurry to work. I stand up and quickly make my way to my work. When my job's done, the sun has already set. It's a bit before 8. I finished 10 minutes early because I worked too hard. It seems I worked frantically since I went to the place before work. Here in front of the station, the night's just getting started. There are lots of people and a constant flow of cars on the road. The buildings are still lit up, and just looking at them makes me feel like I'm watching a grand festival of illumination.
藤根にお土産はいいか。
I walk while looking up at the lighted building. It's the biggest building in Shinto, so I can't see the top clearly. I just gaze up the building, just enjoying the night scenery. Eh? When I think I see something out of place.
なんだ今の。
What's that right now? I stop and stare at the rooftop. I focus my eyes, looking at the thing as small as a grain of rice. And if only I had that kind of eyesight to see, like, all the way to the top of a skyscraper and in, like, high definition, see every detail of someone's clothing, their freaking eye color, like, yeah, as small as a grain of rice. It looks like someone I know. Why is she there? What would she be doing there? With her long hair fluttering and doing nothing, she looks down at the town. It doesn't seem like she notices me down here. There's no way she could see me. Yo, it's soy sauce. She's so high up that I, with better eyesight than most, can barely see her by improving my vision with magical energy. My day is going fantastically. I just got back about 20 minutes ago from seeing Heaven's Feel 3, and it was great. I'm not yet ready to judge it better than the second one, as I feel that this one really relies on the momentum from the second one, but it's still pretty damn good. Oh, yeah, I did. It was actually quite the drive. I took a half day off work, and it was 3.5 hours there. Watched the movie 3.5 hours back. It was great. Amusingly enough, the tickets were so cheap. I guess it's because they're not really selling any tickets right now. The tickets were hella cheap. So it actually cost me more to buy dinner and more to buy gas. Just both of those were like $40-50 total. And the tickets were like $10. But I got to see the movie. If you haven't seen yet, it's really good. The biggest thing, I'm no spoilers because I don't know if you've seen the movie or not, or know the plot. Maybe you've already read Heaven's Feel. But if you don't know the plot and you're going in blind, the only thing I'll say is you probably want to rewatch the first and second movies a little bit, as this one, while the first one and second one I felt could stand alone by themselves, the third one really relies on some of the momentum carrying over from the second movie. So if you haven't watched it in a while, it might feel like there's some missing character development or momentum, because it kind of just starts, much like the anime, it just starts 2 seconds after the previous one ended. Yeah. I hadn't seen the second movie in about a year now. And that was my first thought, was like, I should have watched the second one, because what's a good example of a trilogy that you don't need to? Lord of the Rings. When I watched Lord of the Rings in theaters, you didn't need to rewatch the trilogy. The third movie stood on its own very well, and it was a good movie to boot. The third Heaven's Feel movie, I think it's good, but it definitely needs a little bit of a running start. It's less like a third movie and more like the second movie part 2. Which works. Yeah, it's mostly action. There's like exposition and then action. Exposition, then action. There's not a lot of character development. You very quickly get into your action scenes after like a few minutes of, here's where we are. Yeah, it's a lot of action. You're gonna get a lot of big fight. You're gonna get several big fights and big moments, and the moments come early. You're not waiting till the end for anything big to happen. It's spread throughout the movie. That's very good. So yeah, I'm probably gonna give it as a movie. It's probably like an 8 out of 10 on my radar right now. but I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see the thing in my own home theater, or at least at my computer, because I personally feel that theaters generally give me a worse experience. Like I have to wear glasses while I'm in the theater because the screen's a little bit far away from comfort, so I'm less comfortable. You know, the seat's not always the seat position isn't always perfect to give you the best angle. The audio, I feel like the audio quality in a lot of theaters is like somewhat questionable relative to wearing a pair of really high quality headphones. Yeah, everyone's gangster until someone grows swords out of their arm. A lot of swords too. Yeah, I just feel like in general the theater experience isn't as good as what you can get if you just have a decent pair of headphones and a comfortable chair at home. So I'm going to reserve some of my judgment, better or worse, but that's my temporary. You could say his ability to grow swords is unlimited. It's like he's an unlimited Bladeworks. After all, a Bladeworks is just a foundry for swords, right? You can have a Metalworks, why not a Bladeworks? And he can make an infinite number of them. Yeah, you get to see Shiro project some cool stuff. Get to see a couple neat tricks that you don't get to see in any of the other routes. Several, in fact. Feel like it's in a playthrough of Heaven's Feel. It's not fair to just give out spoilers to Heaven's Feel, but it's really I really liked. Look at you giving out all those spoilers. He absolutely does pull it out. He pulls out Heracles' weapon, and he uses the Heracles' noble phantasm. Not just the weapon, he actually pulls off 9 lives. Which even Berserker Heracles can't do because his noble phantasms are sealed behind Berserker's madness enhancement. And since you haven't seen the movie but you remember that happens in like the first 30 minutes of the movie. We get going fast. Yeah, it's there's not a huge delay. It's like a bit of exposition, we get going. I feel like it happens in the first 30 minutes. I might be wrong. It might be like an hour in, but it felt really early. Character-wise, we hadn't actually done too much. Like, we had a couple conversations. Where like Shiro reaffirms his resolve, and then it feels like we went right to that scene. There's a few scenes before that. Several, in fact. I'm thinking, yeah, it's probably closer to like the 45-minute mark. 45 an hour, but as there are a few setup scenes to lead us into our fights, but it's not like most of the way through the movie. Because I think it's a 2-hour movie. I think it's like 2 and a bit. It's not like the shortest movie. Yeah, I should repace it. I was for some reason thinking the movie was like the usual like hour and change. But no, it's closer to 2. It's closer to a 2 and change, so it'd be about 45 minutes in. Definitely before the halfway mark. Yeah, it's half-ish. That would make more sense. My ability to tell pacing isn't the best. As I'm not like looking at my watch. I felt like it was really early in the movie. But maybe that's because a lot of things happened. What was the rainbow sword Rin used? Well, you've played Grand Order, right? If you've played Grand Order, there's this wonderful 3-star CE called the Jeweled Sword of something or other. That might be a hint. The Jeweled Sword of Zelrech. That's where this is from. That's where it's from. The Jeweled Sword of Zelrech is from Heavensfeel. They didn't just make it up just for Grand Order. I could recognize her since she's standing there alone, but there's no way she could notice me down here among all these people. She's just looking down at the town. Maybe she's looking for something, as I can feel her sharp stare even down here. I forget about time and keep looking up at the girl standing in the sky. She's on top of a tall tower. She's like a witch looking down at the earth with the moon behind her. And then, she must be done with whatever she was doing as she disappears. Yeah, it's like, I know he's using magic vision, but just think of that if that was two normal people looking at each other. Have you ever tried to look at someone who's on top of a skyscraper? That is really hard to see. Like, I can't even see people halfway up the skyscrapers, let alone... It's like... Let alone make out who the person is, what they're wearing, their eye color. Like, you could see her eye color in this picture. Like, just green eyes. You could see green eyes on top of like a 60-story building. Are you kidding? Well, that's what magic's for. And we can't really complain about that since Archer said he can, make out the he can count the rivets on a bridge like 5 kilometers away. So, magic solves that problem. I don't believe it's clairvoyance. It's actually just magical. It's just magic physically enhancing your eyesight. Her figures just appeared, and the scene returns to the beautiful view of the night. Clairvoyance is a specific thing in Fate, right? Clairvoyance is what lets you see the future, the past, or anywhere in the present. Right? Like Gilgamesh can use clairvoyance to straight up see the future and what Chaldea is doing. Gilgamesh can see the future. Merlin can see the present. Solomon can see future and past, I think. It's its own thing. I haven't actually seen a low-level clairvoyance. I didn't think he has low-level clairvoyance either. We don't even have we don't have status unlocked, so we can't even check if anyone has low-level clairvoyance. In theory, it would make sense as clairvoyance is like distance sight, is like distance seeing, but in Fate, to my knowledge, the skill specifically refers to the ability to see the future or the past. At least in the context it's used in. You could like... I have no proof, but I think I'm right. Can I look up clairvoyance? It's a skill. Clairvoyance. Okay, skills A to F. Can I get a C for clairvoyance? Oh, it is also called Hawkeye. Yeah, it's also called Hawkeye at times. Low levels. Here we go. You are correct. You are correct, I think. I'll just read it out here. Clairvoyance, literally the Thousand Li Eyes, is a visual ability also called Hawkeye. By the way, Hawkeye is possessed by Archer. It's a must-have ability for the Archer class. It's frequently used during scouting. Simply looking from a high location is sufficient to fully survey a town and search for enemies. In addition, clairvoyance will affect the accuracy of bows. It connotes superior visual perception and dynamic occipital capture, such as to supplement the long-range aiming of projectile weapons. At higher ranks, it's possible the bearers have acquired abilities such as precognition and other forms of perception beyond standard eyesight. This is considered a prerequisite for being Grandcaster as well. It is a skill furnished on the flesh. So obviously we have Gilgamesh, Gaetia, Solomon, Merlin as EX. Let's see, Arash has A rank, so he can do future reading and mind reading. Karen has apparently the ability to see the future with B rank. We don't know what Fiones can do. Arjuna has C rank and can see invisible targets by manipulating his own senses of time. Emiya just says he can keep track of fast-moving objects within a range of 4 kilometers and acquires it by reinforcement to the eyes. And at D rank, Kiara Sesuen has it, and she can't see through far distances, but she can see through desire of a human in front of her and reveal them. Let's see. Any other useful descriptions for clairvoyance? Not really. We could look up Hawkeye, but that's about it. Yeah, tonight we are reading the Heavens Feel route, as the title suggests. We're currently on day 2. I was just finishing my lookup of clairvoyance. This is actually a scene this is a scene from All Three Roots, as I recall. This is the scene where you see Rin on top of the building. There aren't many girls with looks that stand out that much, and more than that, I'm not stupid enough to mistake a girl I secretly admire.
そうか。にしても
Well, Tosca sure has strange hobbies. A return to Miyama City. Unlike Shinto, it's really quiet here, as if it were midnight already.
さくら、大丈夫かな
She seemed to be feeling better, but since she came to my place to make dinner, I think I've made her push herself again.
ちょっと様子見てくるか
It's not like I'll achieve anything by going to her house now, but it should make me feel better than doing nothing. We don't even stop home, we're just like straight to Sakura's house. Alright, there's nothing wrong at her house. There's no sign of the strange foreigner Sakura was talking about, and the lights are on only in Sakura and Shinji's rooms, as usual. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Then what was that light yesterday? Was there someone other than Sakura and Shinji in the house?
もし何かこの家に用があるのかね
I spin around. In the darkness of the night, as if hiding in the sound of the bugs, a figure is standing. He is an unfamiliar old man. He must be really old, but he has sharp eyes and a presence that doesn't match his small body. Yeah, it's creepy bug guy. Perhaps it is the difference in the years we have lived, but he has a dignity that pressures me.
どうした若いのなぜ答えん答えねばこちらで決めつけてしまうぞではさくらが言っておった不審なよそ者がお前さんだということでよいかな
Oh. I can't tell if the guy's joking or not. Does he know us? He's pretty smart. Sakura. Then could this person be?
参ったの孫の頼みだ見過ごしておくわけにもいくまい見ず知らずのお前さんには申し訳ないが少し痛い目にあってもらわねばならん
He's just gonna beat us up over that.
念のため聞いておくが、潔く公僕の厄介になる気はないか。
The unknown old man asks me such a question. Yeah, just hand yourself over to the police. There's no mistake. This is the first time I've met him, but he must be.
いや違います。俺はシンジの同級生でさくらとは知り合いで散歩がてらに様子を見に来たエミヤシロウというものです。
ああ、そうか。シンジとさくらの知り合いか。それは邪魔をしたな。どれ、二人を呼んでこよう。それとも夕飯を馳走されるかね。
いえ、ちょっと寄っただけですからすぐ帰ります。それよりおじいさん、さくらはもうちゃんと帰ってきてますか？
Look at these creepy eyes. Everyone else has normal eyes. He has freaking like, instead of whites for eyes, he has black. And then his iris is white. Yeah, delicious maggot buffet. All those worms in the basement. Just take a swim with them, you know. Join up with Sakura. It'll be a fun couples activity.
造剣じゃ。
The old man says an unfamiliar word. Zoken.
魔頭造剣。お前さんが名乗ったというのに、わしが名乗らんままではおかしかろう。
You feel bad for saying. Matou Zoken says so and walks towards the entrance. Seems like he doesn't care about me anymore. Interesting. I just noticed that they left the last name and first name swapped in this translation. I was gonna say Zoken Matou sounds so much, rolls off the tongue much nicer than Matou Zoken. And I realized that's because the names are reversed. Overwhelmed, I see him off without a word. I mean, yeah. And then?
さくらならば
The way
帰
you
ってきておる。
Japanese.
それよりエミヤシロ。アインツベルンの娘は双剣かね。
I don't know. It's just me. Like, I find Emiya Shiro is perfectly fine, and actually think that Shiro Emiya sounds slightly off. But Matou Zoken, I want to like move the Zoken to the first name slot. Weird. It's a weird nitpick because it doesn't actually matter, and like they need to be consistent, right? This is last name first name. This should be last name first name. But for whatever reason, I feel like Zoken is a unique first name. Maybe it's because I don't think of Emiya and Shiro as either first name or last name. Because like Archer goes by Emiya sometimes, and Shiro goes by Shiro most of the time. Yeah, maybe it's because you're somewhat bilingual. I feel like it's just a personal preference rather than a linguistic thing. Because it's not like I don't acknowledge any of them as names, it's just the way I think of the specific name.
アインツ、何ですか？
Like, as I said, I don't have a problem with Emiya Shiro, but that's because I think of them both as the same name. Maybe that makes more sense. Like, in my head, there's like Kiritsugu, and he's just Kiritsugu. Whereas Emiya and Shiro seem to both apply in my head to Shiro. Because I sometimes just call him Emiya, but I try to keep Emiya reserved for Archer. Ein what? The Ein what?
とぼけるでない。アインツベルンの娘がエミヤを訪ねるは通り、こたびの座の出来はどうかと問うておる。
Shiro is completely lost, and we're all just like, Zoken knows a little bit. I like how this plays out, because this This one you have to be playing the Sakura. You have to be like going hard into Sakura's route to get this scene at all. So you kind of are supposed to know this, and Shiro's the only one who doesn't know this. So this scene works pretty well. I don't understand it all. I'm sorry, Sakura, but your old man is pretty hard to deal with. Yeah, he's creepy bug guy. Like, his eyes are terrifying. Look at those things.
どうやら本当に知らんらしいな、これは。
Zoken sighs. He looks so shocked that I feel kind of sorry for him.
はあ、よくわかりませんけど、すみません。
I could have sworn that this scene takes place during the daytime, or as the sun's setting in the movie. But the scene seems to be playing out about the same?
いやいや、
I haven't seen it in a while, so I might be wrong.
わしの勘違いじゃ。つまらぬことを言ってすまなかった。
But it was definitely just as creepy. In fact, it was probably more creepy in the movie when Shiro first meets him.
孫たちに用があるのなら遠慮することはない。年寄りは隠居しておるでな。気兼ねなく尋ねるがよい。
あ、いや、今日は本当に寄っただけです。けど、おじいさん、この家に住んでいるんですか？
Yeah, do you actually live here?
住んでおるとも。もっとも見ての通りの老体でな。日がな一日奥座敷でくたびれておる。
I see. I came to their house until about a year ago, but it seemed then that no one other than Sakura and Shinji lived there. Imagine visiting your friend's house like once a week, maybe twice a week, and not even knowing that someone other than your friend and another person lived there. And I'm not saying that Shiro's clueless. I'm saying that's super weird. I would be really weirded out at that. It's like, wait. I've been going to your house regularly for like 2 years, and you're telling me there's a third person living with you. Where's their bedroom? Like obviously, it's like it seems. I mean, you'd have to, if you knew nothing, you'd probably assume Shiro's clueless and wasn't paying attention. But like, if you know a little bit, you're like, man, this Mato guy, this Zoken guy, he's kind of creepy. That's kind of creepy. Like, he actually lives here, but I've never seen him.
では失礼するぞ、エミヤシロウ君。うちの孫たちとよくしてやってくれ。
Like, if I was reading this story for the first time, this like throws up red flags for me. It's like, if an elderly person is living with you, like someone who looks this old, you should be like I know people who take care of people who look this old, or you know, obviously have like grandparents, and you're probably gonna have to like make dinner for them, or at least mention that at some point. You know, you made something, right? They're gonna come up in conversation, right? Right? Despite his appearance, he leaves with light footsteps. I'm sure you have grandparents and you're like, if they were living with someone, like they'll come up in a conversation because you have to do something for them, or make sure they're taken care of, or give them a hand with something. Or at the very least, if you go to their house, you'll notice the signs that a third person lives there. There's no change in the house. Oh, he doesn't even turn the lights on. But the sound of the bugs has suddenly stopped. Yeah, notice that, did you? The bugs stopped when Zoken leaves. Which means he was also stalking us previously. The day ends. Finishing a rowdy dinner and seeing Fujine off, I take a bath. After that, I practice my daily routine in the shed. I complete it as usual and go to sleep. It is 1 in the morning. The day ends peacefully with no troubles. Yeah, we're not going to skip it. We'll just watch. I already said we're not skipping scenes anymore. It feels unnatural to skip exposition or character development for the sake of speeding through the game. I'm trying to enjoy the story. I'm in a fire. Collapsing buildings and burning people. No matter how far I run, the scenery is always red. This is a vision of 10 years ago. A memory of the distant past I haven't remembered in a while. I run through it as if recreating the scene. There's no escape even though I know it's a dream. I run, keep running. In the end, where I end up is how I'm saved after running out of energy. I wake up with a bad feeling. A feeling like a metal weight is inside my chest. I feel my forehead and find I'm sweating a lot, even though it's winter.
ああ、もうこんな時間か。
One of those days where you wake up with like cold sweats. Fun times, you're like, I must have been having a nightmare or something, but I don't remember it. Had a few of those days. It's already past 6 o'clock. From the kitchen, I could hear the sound of the kitchen knife cutting something.
さくら、今朝も早いな。
There's no time to be impressed. I have to get ready quickly to go help fix breakfast. Hey, it's Shadow.
今日どうするのよ。土曜日だから午後はアルバイト？
いや、バイトは入ってないよ。一世のところで何かやってると思うけど、それがどうかしたか？
別に。暇だったら道場の方に遊びに来てくんないかなーって。私、今月ピンチなのだ。
ピンチって何がさ？
What do you
お
need,
財布事
Fujine?
情がピンチなの。
Stop.
誰かがお弁当作ってくれると嬉しいんだけどな。
Fujine. You have a full-time job. Surely you have money. How can you be this bad? Okay, I mean, I believe Fujine is terrible with finances. I can totally believe that. Oh, it's one of those things though where you're just like, how are you so bad with money that you need help with lunch? I think she just likes Shiro's food. That seems more likely. She's like, man, I really like Shiro's food. Everyone else seems to love it, so I see no reason why Fujine would. Though I can see her being bad with her finances. I can't see her being desperate enough to need Shiro's lunch. She definitely wants that food.
断る。自業自得だ。たまには一食ぐらい抜いた方がいい。
Ooh,
で
rejected.
シローには期待してないもん。私が頼りにしてるのはさくらちゃんだけなんだから。ね、さくらちゃん。
This is my first time reading the visual novel. I did just get back from the third movie to like 40 minutes ago though. So I do know the plot of one of the successful routes. I was holding off on reading the visual novel until I saw the movie. And when I realized I was probably going to be seeing it this week, I went, oh, I can start. So I started this Sunday. I generally read this Sundays and Tuesdays. So I usually start a little bit earlier. Tonight's a little bit late since I literally just drove in from the movie. Set up and started going. I've read the other routes though. They're good. The movie was great. My biggest criticism was that unlike the first two movies, I didn't think it could stand alone. It feels more like a part 2 to the second movie than it does a third standalone movie. It's still a very good movie, but if you haven't seen the first and second one in a while, I'd recommend playing them or like watching them again, then going into the theater and then watching it, as that is what I feel was a little bit weird. It felt like it didn't have like a fully developed arc within it. No, I'm with you on the Emiya Shiro and Shiro Emiya feeling natural, but like I was just remarking on Zoken being weird. It's like Some names just feel more like last names to me than they do first names. Like, I don't know if that's the case for you. I don't think it has to do with being bilingual or not. Because, like, you can usually take a lot of names at face value. But, like, almost all the names in Stay Night, I think, work as in the order they're presented. It's just the Zoken one that I felt feels weird. If you read it backwards. Yeah, I would highly recommend going to see the movie if you haven't seen them. I have a fun anecdote. My brother went to see the movie as well. I didn't go with him, unfortunately, as we live about 8 hours drive apart. But he went and saw it yesterday, and I was talking to him about it today. And afterwards, my mom texted me and asked me how my day was going. So I responded, said I went to see the movie, was going to start telling her about it. And she's like, oh, I went and saw it too. It was great. My mom has literally never seen anything Fate related. She tagged along with my brother to go see the third Heavensfield movie as her first Fate experience. I was like, wait, what? Come again? Are you serious? And you liked it? Like, the first thing I was gonna tell her about the movie, other than that it was great, was that I thought it desperately needed the second movie in order to fit together, because a lot of characters didn't really have character arcs. A lot of the plot was just straight up continued from the second one. And she's like, yeah, it was great. I'm like, alright. You're on the final day of the Heavensfield route on the visual novel. Well, you can watch the first two then. They're very good. So I guess we're getting the opposite experience, Elrich. Yeah, she said she was very confused, but was really enjoying it. I mean, she hasn't seen. I don't think she's not like a big anime watcher or anything. In fact, she's maybe watched like 1 or 2 anime. The first anime I know she's independently watched, like most of a series or is actually watching through, is Shokugeki no Soma. So, and that's because I started watching it while I was at her house. So it's going to be an interesting experience, but she liked it, and she's interested in more. I don't know when she'll get to it, because she's said she's got a couple shows in order to watch first, and she's kind of slow at going through shows, but I thought it was really funny, because she's like, yeah, I totally want to watch more of this. This looks freaking awesome. I mean, even if you don't understand the plot, your first Ufotable experience was my favorite Fate route. So far, I like Unlimited Blade Works the most. But I wanna hold off my complete judgment. Like, it's probably gonna be Unlimited Blade Works still, but I'm gonna hold off my judgment until I actually get the DVD trilogy box set of Heavensfield and watch them all back to back, because I feel like the year and a half between me watching the second one and me watching the third one really screwed up my sense of like pacing, character development, stuff like that. Obviously some's cut because it's a movie instead of just an anime, but so far I like the second route the best. The first route, I feel, doesn't have enough intrigue in it. Like, it's a very straightforward hero's journey plot and doesn't really twist or bring a unique take on the formula other than bringing you the setting. Unless you really like Saber. But it brings you the setting and sells you on the setting. And other than that, it's like, it doesn't feel like it's super good. To me, at least, it doesn't feel like it's very compelling, as compelling as a story as, say, Unlimited Blade Works. Unlimited Blade Works I like because we have this interesting... We have an interesting... we still have the same world. We have an interesting take. And we have some interesting twists where we have, like, the Archer-Shiro conflict. We have Emiya Shiro learning more about himself, reaching a higher level of self-actualization, rather than simply following his dream and succeeding at everything he wants. As, you know, good guy does good things, gets the girl, the end is a fairly straightforward story. It's not a bad story by any means. It's a classic line, but I like seeing something interesting and unique, and the only thing I personally liked about the Fate story, apart from like I like the visual novel more than I like the anime, but it had a couple interesting scenes, like the scene in the chapel. People really like that one. It had a few scenes where he has some interesting personal monologues, but he doesn't really experience any ideological conflict with himself. And I feel like even though Archer is an external force, he's also Shiro's future self, so it's kind of like an externalized internal conflict that, you know, allows you in a story to have a character argue with themselves but not actually argue with themselves, so you can have a dialogue that's interesting, dynamic, and they're like fighting, but they're not actually fighting. Their fight is between their ideals rather than their physical capabilities. You know, having a fight like that where, you know, one side can win, but there's a strong emotional connection between both of the characters. That was one of the things that really stood out to me, is the Archer conflict. Obviously, Fate Route has some good scenes in it, and it has some unique scenes, has some good scenes. Like they all have their high points, but that's personally why I like it. I also kind of like Rin more than Sakura still, although it's pretty close. The Grand Order and the Heavensfielder have really brought Sakura forward for me. Honestly, I don't hate what Dean did to the Fate Route. Maybe it's because I don't like the Fate Route anyway, but I honestly don't see what people hate about it. Now here's why, because from my perspective, so everything is adapted. You can't do anything perfectly. That's fine. The only thing I feel Dean added was the entire Castor arc. That was kind of unnecessary and stretched out the plot, but I don't think it was that bad. And because I don't think it was that bad, I don't actually hate what they did with it, because the things they take issue with, like I've already said, are the fact that it's more or less a straightforward hero's journey rather than being this big it's like a straightforward hero's journey rather than having some twists and turns in it and a unique take on the concept. I understand that the Fate route is the default route, and it's the one that you're supposed to be introduced to the characters, the world, and the Shiro's concept of a hero, and thus it needs to exist, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I think the second one is better, because the first one seems to be more an establishing route than a compelling story to me. So in my opinion, Dean didn't actually do anything bad, because my issues with the Fate route do not have any, like, Dean faithfully adapted the parts I have the issues with, so I don't have a problem with Dean's adaptation. They added an arc, it's kind of filler, so be it. They probably wanted to get the full 2 seasons and maybe felt they didn't have enough material that was compelling in the episodic structure they had. Or, like, it is what it is there. You can't do much. You could ask for another adaptation, but I personally don't think it was a terrible adaptation. I also have a couple issues with the Unlimited Blade Works adaptation. Like, one of the worst things, in my opinion, about the Unlimited Blade Works adaptation is the last episode. The last episode drags on for far too long and has cameos from characters that didn't exist. Like Waver. It has a Waver cameo, and it has... Oh, sorry to hear your internet's still being funky. We have Luvia, and we have Waver cameoing in a series that was written before they existed. And the entire episode feels like an excessively long denouement, where we don't really need that. The tension's stabilized. In the visual novel, they instead go with ending in the schoolroom scene where Shiro decides to go to school. That works much better. as it's not excessively long. I personally, I'm okay with longer endings. I don't hate things that seem to end 3 times. For example, in Your Name, although the movie is amazing, and from what I've seen, people seem to like it more than Tenkinoku. I feel like it ended too many times, and I wasn't sure when I was getting that emotional payoff and ending, which made the movie feel like it was dragging its feet towards the end. I get the same feeling with the last episode of Unlimited Blade Works. But in the visual novel, it just ends it with that schoolroom scene in your high school, whatever your high school is called. And I feel like that works a lot better as the fight's ended. We get a short follow-up telling us this is where Shiro's going to go next. This is what Rin's planning to do next. Awesome. We're all happy. Rin's smiling. The end. So I'm curious to see what the ending... I think there's a few endings to this one, but I'm curious to see what the ending looks like for this. As, if it's the same... If it's going to be the same as the, movies. Because the movies are very good. Like, I definitely feel like they're worth watching, and I definitely think the second one is probably my favorite anime movie. Definitely my favorite shonen anime movie. There isn't anything else that comes close. Other than maybe one of the Kara no Kyokai movies. But I also don't think they're as action heavy. They're kind of more investigative. Like there's a couple minor fights in it? You don't think the most important... Yeah, see, people think like the underground church scene is hugely important, and they reference a couple other minor scenes. I don't agree with that. I feel like most of the core is there. You could maybe add those in a remake. It'd be alright to do that. Or add them in a re-release, just like reanimate it. Animate those as new scenes. I'm gonna like agree to I'm gonna disagree with that, but I'm gonna allow you to say that because it's your favorite route, and hey, I can't tell you what's right or wrong. I don't think they needed to add that caster stuff, and like if you think there were scenes that were better that could have gone in place of that arc, okay, I'm not gonna disagree with you. More accuracy is sometimes good. Most of the time good. I mean, sometimes there are times, like, when you're doing a visual adaptation from a book, you sometimes want to change to something a little... Sometimes you want to change things up to make the work in a more linear format, or in a more visual format, as the visual novel is not a visual format. Despite having pictures, this is not a visual format, it's a text-based format. Right. You do have to make compromises or have it work in the flow of a movie or a episodic series, but yeah, you could have, like, if you have scenes you think were missing that could have replaced parts of the caster arc, I don't think there's enough material. They would have to stretch a lot of it, because the caster arc was like freaking 6 episodes. It was really long. I think that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it fit 2 whole seasons. And they may have even cut a couple scenes that were in the visual novel to make sure that the caster arc they were adding fits. That's one thing I wouldn't be a fan of. They probably did. That would be irritating if I knew they did that. And it's possible they did that. But I personally feel like they got most of the core scenes in. You don't actually learn too much. In fact, I feel like I learned more details from the Unlimited Blade Works read through I just did. I actually just finished Unlimited Blade Works last week. The visual novel, that is. And I felt like I learned so much more and like had so many more details. I only got a few things out of the Fate route. Breakfast continues as usual. Today, along with the usual, there's simmered lotus root with chicken. That sounds tasty. I don't think she has to make anything this elaborate for breakfast, but I think she made a lot of it to take for lunch too. Sakura is a member of the archery club, and Fujine is in charge of the archery club. It's natural for them to share lunches.
そういえばシロ、今朝は遅かったけど、なんかあった？
Oh my god, I forgot about all that wasted money. The archery club sometimes buys lunches for everybody. Well, we haven't moved too far forward in the plot. We were having a discussion about the Fate route and its adaptation into anime form. Oh, I think we're done with that now. Alright, Fujine is looking at me sipping her miso soup. Yeah, we went and checked out Sakura's house. Like a stalker, we didn't even say hi, we just saw her grandpa and left. Jeez. She's usually slow, but she gets sharp only at times like this. Yeah, Fujine is sharp only at the most inconvenient of times.
昔の夢を見た。寝覚めがすっげえ悪かっただけで、あとはなんともない。
なんだ、いつものことか。なら安心かな。
Fujine ends the conversation like she's not interested. I'm not worried at all about it either, so I shouldn't get mad about it. Glass reflection seems to hold the Dean Fate route some justice. I don't quite follow. It seems to give it some justice. Does glass reflection like redo the scenes, make a couple cuts? Glass reflection, Fate. Ah, okay. He's a YouTuber and he's defending it. I haven't read his opinion on it. I might check that out sometime, see what his arguments are. Seems he has... The first result is a video titled In Defense of Dean's Day Night. I'll give it a read, see what he thinks of it. I know, and I disagree with him because I think there are issues with the story that are fundamental to the Fate route itself and not the adaptation, as the first route I read was the Fate route, so I have in fact done it. It is actually, if I go over here, it is this one right here. Years ago. I used to have nightmares back when I couldn't get the fire out of my mind. But I saw less of it as time passed, and I'm well over it. Now that I can let it slide, even after dreaming about it. Okay, he's more or less over it, alright. I guess it was pretty bad back then, since Fujine has been here since that time. She's sensitive to my change. Alright.
シロ、食欲
Feel
あ
like
る？
a
今朝に限ってないとかない？
Arcada. Time to Google Arcada. When am I gonna have time? Oh, okay. Okay. He calls himself Arcada. Cool. I might give a couple of his videos a listen. I might have some spare concentration here or there to listen to something in the background to drain work. We don't have an appetite. Why don't we have an appetite? Nothing bad happened to us yesterday.
ない。なんともないんだから、人の夢にかこつけて飯を横取りするな。
シローが強くなってくれて嬉しいけど、もうちょっと繊細でいてくれた方がいいな、お姉ちゃんは。
Okay, okay. I'll check him out. I'll check him out.
そりゃこっちのセリフだ。もうちょっと可憐になってくれた方がいいぞ、弟分としては。
My streams have it happens to everyone, man. I've done that where I have to like correct every single line I type multiple times sometimes. Multiple times even. I've done that where it's like type out a sentence and I'm like, "Oh, I meant this." And then oh yeah, for the second part I meant this. And then I spelled like the correction wrong as well or something. Actually I had to do that a lot. I downloaded a Japanese keyboard for my phone, and the keyboard that you can use, all the new keyboards just screw me up on my phone. So it's like, I got used to one keyboard, and the minute I change without changing phone sizes, it completely screws me up. Especially when you go from Japanese to English, or English to Japanese. Like the actual English Japanese keyboard is actually not a keyboard I like either. Because it also doesn't have frickin' swipe typing. Anyway. It doesn't. Most of them don't have swipe typing or a proper English dictionary. They have Japanese dictionaries attached to them. You can't even autocomplete any words until you've typed them out multiple times. I do on occasion when I have exactly one hand free. Or for specific words. For specific words, it feels faster to just swipe sometimes. I don't use it for like everything, but for like some words you can just drag really quickly if they're at like precise points on the pad. But I think I'm more bothered by this placement. Like the keyboard I have right now on my phone, I'm just gonna pick it up right now. The keyboard I have, the Japanese keyboard. So obviously, like, Japanese keyboards can all output. Most Japanese keyboards can output Latin characters. So, you know, I can just press a button. In this one, I can just press a button to swap to typing Japanese. The problem is, in both of the languages, the spacebar is freaking tiny, and I regularly miss it, especially when I'm typing English stuff, because, you know, Japanese, you don't type a lot of spaces in Japanese. But in English, spaces are super important, so when you're endlessly accidentally fat fingering the period or the directional arrows that that you use in Japanese for like word selection, huge mess. And then this one doesn't have an English dictionary attached to it, so the autocomplete kind of sucks because you have to train it yourself. I tried a couple other ones. I tried like 3 or 4 keyboards in Japanese, and most of them were pretty. Although there are a couple unique keyboard styles they have, like the friggin' phone pad typing. I thought that was a crazy design. If you haven't seen that, you like select a character, and then you swipe in a direction to pick which character you want. You type A, you type like, actually you don't, the vowels are part. You like press like a character and then swipe left to select that character plus a vowel. I thought it was kind of cool. You press like ah, and then you have like E, O, all is like directions. It's kind of cool. We make fun of each other without looking at each other. It proves my liveliness, and Fujine laughs with relief. To be honest, I'm glad she's worrying. But she'll be elated if I thank her, so I act like I'm discontented. Not knowing the circumstances, Sakura looks puzzled at the way we're acting. The end. After Fujine leaves, we lock the house and leave. We're walking Sakura home. Or walking her to school?
さくら、なんだよ、元気がないな。もしかして、また体調が悪くなったのか？
いえ、体の調子はいいです。先輩の方こそ大事はありませんか？今朝もどこか気分が悪そうでしたし、昨日の傷も悪化してるかもしれません。
Yesterday's bruise? Oh, that welt on my left hand.
いや、あざはあれっきりだけどな。ただの腫れだからしばらくすれば治るだろう。
She must be worried about something as she continues to stare at me.
ああ、いや、本当に大丈夫だって。大したことないぞ、本当。なんだよ。昨日からおかしいぞ、さくら。こんなのただのあざだろ？それとも何か？俺が寝てる間にさくらが踏んづけてできたあざだとか。
先輩、私そんなに重くありません。私はただ、
That moment of shock.
ただ
間違いだったらいいって。
Sakura looked cute for a moment when she was shocked. I liked that. I don't understand her. Sakura doesn't talk much, but she tends to say important things clearly. She doesn't usually talk like this.
先輩、お願いがあるんですけど、
Unclear or not. Alright.
いいですか？
ん？ああ、できる範囲でなら聞くけど、なんだ？
はい、私、明日の夜までお手伝いに来られないんです。その間、できるだけ家の中にいてもらえませんか？
それ、日曜のバイトは休めってことか？
はい、できる限り家にいてほしいんです。私も用事が終わればお手伝いに来ますから。
まあ、一日ぐらい休んでもいいか。よし。じゃあ、休日は家でのんびりしてる。それでいいか、さくら。
はい。そうしてもらえると助かります。
Alright, I guess it's fine to relax once in a while. I have some extra living expenses from working a lot recently. Extra living expenses from working a lot recently. That seems like weird phrasing. Wouldn't he have extra cash instead of extra expenses? Anyway. So I'll clean up all the junk this weekend. No skipping scenes, no. We're reading them. I leave Sakura, who has club activities, and head to the school building. The schoolyard is full of spirited students running around. But still, there's something oddly wrong here. School is like it always is. The students at morning practice are lively, and the new school building is spotless.
気のせいか、これ。
But when I close my eyes, the air completely changes. The school building is covered with stains like membranes, and the stools running around the schoolyard seem like empty dolls.
疲れてるのかな、おい。
I shake my head to clear it. I head to the lifeless building. Some would say all school buildings are equally lifeless. Clearly not Shiro. School ends early on Saturdays. Classes end before noon, and after I finish helping Issei, the sun is starting to set.
さて、そろそろ帰るか。
Since Japanese people have school 6 days a week, do they also work 6 days a week? I'm curious about that. I pack up and leave my classroom. And then? Alright.
なんだ、 まだ学校にいたんだ、エミヤ。
Oh, it's this guy. He's always wonderful every time he comes on screen. I bump into Shinji. There are a couple of girls behind him, being rowdy.
やることもないくせにまだ残ってたの？ああ、そうか。また生徒会にごますってたわけね。いいね、エミヤは。部活なんてやんなくても内心稼げるんだからさ。
生徒会の手伝いじゃないぞ。学校の備品を直すのは生徒として当たり前だろ。使ってるのは俺たちなんだから。
よく言うよ。エミヤに言わせればなんだって当たり前だからね。そういういい子ぶりが勘に触るって前に言わなかったっけ？
Man, what a dick.
すまん。よく覚えていない。それ、シンジの口癖だと思っていたから、どうも聞き流してたみたいだ。
Is he... He isn't even jealous. He just hates that we're being a good person. I fucking hate Shinji so much. Like, if he was just jealous that we're a good person and occasionally have good things happen to us, but it's like everyone points out that we basically act like a fucking doormat and do whatever people tell us to, and it's a bad thing. So I don't feel like he's jealous. He's just a dick for no reason. Like, why do you hate him for being like that? Seems like he's being helpful. At the very least, you're taking advantage of Shiro whenever you can, so... Oh, whatever. At least appreciate... You could at least appreciate him, but you're a self-centered dick, so I don't see that happening.
そうか。それじゃあ学校にあるものなら何でも直してくれるんだ、エミヤは。
Now he'd fix everything he's capable of, not everything.
何でも直すなんて無理だ。せいぜい面倒見るぐらいだが。
Did I ever get past Li Shuwen? I haven't actually had... I have had the chance to play... I haven't had to play Grand Order that much today. I did actually just kill him off... I just about killed him off stream. I got the kill, and while he was doing his death animation, I closed the game. I got that setup, however, I moved Mordred to the back for the support setup. But she was still the support, story support. I might just do that on stream, because I was testing it to see if it was more reliable, as I don't really want to drag things out too long, but I still want to keep the, mandatory setup I'm running of MASH, assuming MASH is available, and there in the story, and one of the story supports. Because my team was, my team then, I didn't actually change the team, other than Nero lost aerial drive and instead got invulnerability pierce, which, debatably useful. In fact, it was almost completely useless, because on that fight, our breakpoints really lined up. Twitch seems like it's not on your side. It is what it is, man. Just enjoy the show. Yeah, Li Shuwen hits pretty hard. I'm not a fan of that fight because it seems very random. The fact that he has the ability to focus targets down, and sometimes he'll invuln pierce and instant kill people, and other times he won't, is just really irritating. What was irritating me the other day, what irritates me most about dying in this game, though, is the fact that everything costs you hours or apples. So it's like you're spending currency that's hard to acquire, or you're waiting hours. And both of those are irritating. I'd rather just try the boss 30 times without the stress of spending apples to try him again. Oh well, it is. But yeah, I did kill him off stream, so I'll probably kill him in a couple attempts on stream tomorrow. Or wait, yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah, I'll probably kill him Wednesday. I'll probably kill him tomorrow. We're gonna be hugely overcapped on AP though. I only had time to do 2 attempts while I was setting up to stream, waiting for a nice round number to start streaming. Li Shuwen's a pretty tough boss.
よし。 なら頼まれてくれよ。うちの弓道場さ、今割と散らかってるんだよね。弦も巻いてないのが溜まってるし、安土の掃除もできてない。暇ならさ、そっちの方もよろしくやってくれないかな。元弓道部員だろ。生徒会になんか尻尾振ってないで、たまには僕たちの役に立ってくれ。
Four Sabers, I hope you have a lot of gems and a lot of materials. Saber likes eating all my fangs. I don't have enough fangs. Although I found out I need a ton of pages as well. So I am in a lot of various material hills in Grand Order.
ちょっと先輩、それって先輩が藤村先生に言われてたことじゃなかった？
Yeah, but this is Shinji. He wouldn't do that work because it's beneath him.
そうです
Or
よ。
at least he thinks it's
ちゃん
beneath
と
him.
やっておかないと明日怒られますよ。
Especially you can get Shiro to do it and he'll actually do a good
今から
job.
片付けしてたら店閉まるじゃん。そこの人がやってくれんならそれでいいんじゃないの？
悪いよ。それに部外者に後片付けなんかできるわけないし。そうでもないんじゃない？あの人元弓道部員だってシンジが言ってるしさ。任せちゃえばいいのよ。
They're getting rowdy behind Shinji. Is that what you call rowdy? It seems they're in the archery club, but they must be members that Shinji recruited recently, as I don't know them.
じゃあ、あとはよろしく。鍵の場所は変わってないから、勝手にやっといてよ。文句ないよね、エミヤ。
なあ、構わないよ。どうせ暇だったから、たまにはこういうのも悪くない。
サンキュー。それじゃあ行こうぜみんな。つまんない雑用はあいつがやっといてくれるってさ。
待ってよ先輩。じゃああとはよろしくお願いしますね先輩。
The cleaning ends quite easily, as I know the place well. It took a while as it's quite big, but it was fun cleaning the place I used until a year and a half ago. I picked up a bow, thinking it might be okay to shoot just once. But since it wasn't mine, I decided not to. If I ever want to, I can just bring my own bow and come here.
にしても、カーボン製の弓が多くなったな。1年前までは1つしかなかったのに。
Carbon-based bows are good, unlike wood and plastic bows. The bigger problem is the budget, and they're not something we could buy with the club's budget. Back then, Shinji was the only one using it. Are the new members rich too?
もったいない。木の弓の方がいろいろと手を加えられるのに。
Well, I guess that's personal taste right there. When I look at the clock, it's way past curfew. It's a little after 7 o'clock. The gates should be closed by now, so there's no reason to rush now. He just needs to go with the old reliable and use the weapon of his father. Yeah, gun. Gun is a good weapon. Don't need to carry around bulky arrows. It's super compact. Can fire off a lot more shots in a short time frame. Unless you're a servant, I guess. Archers can fire off a lot of shots in very little time. May as well be a machine gun. Was the dojo always this sturdy? There's loads of places that look unkept.
ここまで来たら1時間も2時間も変わらないか。
Best mom doing what he does best and cleaning. I've started this, so I'll finish the job. I feel like mages still have a lot of good utility, but it can very effectively kill them and penetrate all their defenses. The wind is blowing. It's so cold, my cheeks are getting numb. Fuyuki City isn't usually cold during the winter, but it is cold tonight of all nights. My breath hangs around as a white cloud. I wrap up my body to hold off the cold. Yeah, especially with his father's bullets. Do those bullets still work, though? I thought they just activated his magic. Does he still have to be alive for that? That's something I wasn't clear on. If the bullets still work, even though his father's dead. If they still work, that would be like a gold mine of firepower, anti-mage firepower. Even though he used a chunk of them, especially in his last couple battles, he still has like 20 or 30 kicking around. Like he has a good chunk of them left. Actually, I think he only had like 20 or 30 in the first place. Yeah, the bigger issue is I don't know if they work without Kiritsugu being around. As he might have to... They automatically trigger his magic, which destroys and incorrectly rebuilds thing. Destroys magic circuits. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it activates his magic. It doesn't automatically do it. Like, I think he still needs to be around for them to work. If he doesn't, that's a really good weapon. But he didn't even teach Shiro how to fight or how to kill people, let alone how to pull the trigger on someone. He's trying to keep him away from that life, right? Life of a murderer for hire. There's no light in the sky when I look up. Because of the strong winds, the clouds are moving fast. It's past curfew, and there's no sign of life in the empty school. It seems this place is filled only with chill. It's all silent. What are we hearing? Just now. I think I hear something.
確かに聞こえる。校庭の方か。
I heard that. This night. I must have been curious about the sound that broke the silence. Shiro going to investigate this is so dumb. Every time. It's like, it's past curfew. People are going home with a curfew because of murders in town. And you're just like, I'm gonna go investigate a weird noise. Not because you're worried about someone, just because you're curious. To investigate it, I find myself heading there, even though I somehow know I mustn't. I mean, it's not the most unreasonable thing, though. I would be curious, too, if I heard something interesting. I'd probably go find out. Would I survive a horror film? Probably not. I go to the schoolyard.
人?
Well, they only look like that from a distance, like people. It's a dark night with no light. If I want to know more, I'll have to go closer to the schoolyard. I can hear the sounds louder now. It's the sound of metal hitting metal. That must mean someone is fighting with weapons here.
バカバカしい。何考えてるんだ、俺。
I dismiss the image from my mind with a bitter smile and walk on. At that time, maybe my instinct noticed the danger as I hid myself as I approached. I don't know if this is fortunate or not. But anyways, when I get by a tree that is big enough to hide myself, I take a closer look at the source of the sound. My mind stops completely. There's something strange there. A man in red and a man in blue. They are dangerously armed as their ominous appearance suggests. They're actually slashing each other. At each other, that is. Yes. Look at that. That incredible detail. This pure white, this white to other color gradient. Oh, he can't use the gun the bullets are meant for. Yeah, it does have a custom. It is a custom gun. They're actually slashing each other. I can imagine how this fight goes. It sounds good. I think this is all you need to know how this fight is. Especially with the text descriptions. I can't understand. I can't follow them with my eyes. My brain does not work properly, faced with their impossible movements. But the clang of their weapons tells me they're trying to kill each other. I just knew immediately when I saw them. They are not human. They are probably just things that look like humans. I can't tell, not because I can tell, not because I'm learning magic. Anyone would realize they're not human. After all, humans can't move like that. So, they're something no one should associate with. So naturally, we're gonna keep looking. I can feel their murderous intent, even from a distance. I'm going to die. My body understands faster than my brain that I will definitely die if I stay here. That's why my heart is racing so fast. As a living thing like them, I sense they're living things made only to kill. They're using weapons made only to kill. I remember the murder yesterday. They said the family was killed with some weapon, like a sword. I shouldn't watch any longer. But my body won't follow my commands, and I can't even breathe. My mind wants to run away, but my judgment tells me I'll be seen the moment I run away. More than the conflict within me, my body is just numb. Even though I'm over 40 meters away, I can't breathe properly, and it's like I have a spear pointed right at my back. The sounds stop. The figures separate and stand facing each other. The moment I feel relief at the end of their battle, I sense an even stronger intent to kill. My heart stops. The numbness in my body becomes convulsions, and I clench my teeth to try and hold my trembling body. An overwhelming amount of magical energy is flowing into the guy in blue. Kiritsugu showed me once what it's like to draw in magical energy from the surroundings. It was a beautiful magic that impressed even an amateur like me. But that thing is different. Just as even the simple task of drinking water could seem ugly if it goes too far, what he is doing is so excessive that anyone with knowledge of magical energy would hate it. He's going to die. The guy in red is going to die. It's a blow with that much concentrated and magical energy. There's no way he'll be able to survive it. He'll die. He's not human, so something merely like a human will die. That's something I can just ignore? That doubt takes my mind off them. The binds on my body disappear, and the instant I take a deep breath. Caught. The guy in blue stares at me who's hiding. The blue guy's body sinks. Just that motion tells me I'm his target now. Just that single breath gave us away. A simple motion. My legs start running automatically. I finally realize that it's an action to escape death, and I put all the energy in my body into running away. Thank God we like being fit. I don't know how fast I run, but before I know it, I'm in the school building. Did you take your shoes off? I regret my actions, panting heavily. I should have run into town to get away. What am I doing, fleeing to such a deserted place? In a school, of all things, isn't there some better place to hide than here? Anyway, why do I think I'll be killed if I don't escape? My heart aches from running so much. Turning around, I can sense nothing pursuing me. The only sound in the air is the sound of my footsteps. We must have lost him. So I can finally rest. I stop my feet, unable to take another step, and send oxygen to my pumping heart, and look up to finally realize I'm safe. I recall the scene from earlier while catching my breath. What was that? Anyway, I'm sure it wasn't something I should have seen. Some things, like humans, were fighting in the school grounds. That's all I can remember. But there was something else I saw out of the corner of my eye.
もう一人誰かいた気がするけど。
Yeah, wasn't there someone else too? I can't remember what that figure looked like. To be honest, I didn't have the composure to notice anything other than those two fighting.
けどこれでともかく。
追いかけっこは終わりだろ。
The voice comes from right in front of me.
いや、割と遠くまで走ったな、お前。
I can't breathe. My brain stops, and even though I cannot think, I vaguely understand that I am going to die. But we're screwed now.
お前自身が誰よりも分かってたんだろう。何？やられる側ってのは得てしてそういうもんだ。別に恥じることじゃない。
Man, he's not even out of breath. The lance is casually raised.
運が悪かったな、坊主。ま、見られたからには死んでくれや。
And the man's lance mercilessly pierces Emiyashiro's heart. Captain Spandex, our favorite boy in blue. Lancer. There wasn't even time to dodge it. All the training I did was for nothing. I knew I was going to be killed. I knew I was going to be pierced by that lance, yet I could not move at all. The world distorts. My body grows cold. Feeling vanishes from my fingertips. I cough up blood once. More blood should have come up, but it only happens once. Perhaps the man's lance is special. The blood slowly clots, and the heart that should have exploded stops working with just a single pierce. I can't see well. There's no feeling in me. I feel like a jellyfish floating in the dark sea at night. I don't feel any pain already. The world is white, and only I am black. So rather than feeling like I'm dead, it's more like the world around me has disappeared. I know this. I felt this 10 years ago. This is how someone feels when dying.
死人に口なしってな。弱いやつがくたばるのは当然といえば当然だが。
I cannot concentrate on my vision.
まったく嫌な仕事をさせてくれる。このざまで英雄とは笑い草だ。
I can only hear voices.
分かっている。文句はないさ。女のサーバントは見たんだ。おとなしく戻ってやるよ。
A voice filled with irritation. And after that, I hear footsteps running through the hallway.
アーチャーか。蹴りをつけておきたいところだが、マスターの方針を破るわけにもいくまい。まったく、いけすかねえマスターだこと。
The voice suddenly disappears. I guess he jumped out of a window or something. Irish Hercules doing work, man. And after that, footsteps approach me and stop. In that brief period, more footsteps. I can't hear much now.
追ってアーチャー。ランサーはマスターのところに戻るはず。せめて相手の顔ぐらい把握しないと。
Probably crazy hard to concentrate when you're like in the middle of dying too. Imagine if you're about to pass out. You know how hard it is to concentrate when you're exhausted, let alone when you're bleeding out. There's no blood flow to your brain. Probably like being choked out, I guess. Whose voice was that? I concentrate my fading mind, but I can't remember anything. Right now, my breathing is too noisy. My lungs must still be alive. The air coming out of my mouth is as loud as a hurricane.
その割にはまだ死んでないってのはすごいな。
I sense someone looking at my face. Perhaps my breathing was loud as the figure tries to close my mouth and
やめてよね。なんだってあんたが。
I hear the person grit their teeth. Then they touch me without hesitation.
破損した臓器を偽造して代用。その間に心臓一つ丸々修復か。こんなの成功したら時計塔に一発合格ってレベルじゃない。
A pain-filled voice. But hey, she'll be accepted to the clock tower instantly if Shiro doesn't die. With that, my mind stops fading. Feeling returns to my body. Slowly, bit by bit, like a drop of water going down a leaf, feeling returns to my body. What is the person doing? I like how every single time you the reader and the viewer always know who it is, but Shiro doesn't make the connection, not for a long time, if ever, depending on the route. It's a nice scene because it's clear to Shiro some of what's going on, but it's even clearer to the reader what's actually going on. It works out really well, and is also a scene that translates fairly easily to a visual medium, like anime or movie format. What is this person doing? The person is sweating and places their hand on my chest with all their heart. When I notice, the place where the person placed their hand is terribly hot. It must be so hot that the frozen blood melted and started to flow again. I sense someone take a deep breath and sit down.
疲れた。
I hear a clang of something falling.
まあ仕方ないか。ごめんなさい、父さん。あなたの娘はとんでもなく薄情者です。
And that's it. The person speaks to mock themselves and leaves. My heart resumes its activity. And then my mind stops. This is not the sleep of death. This is a restful sleep to recover the energy to wake again. That's fair. It's probably pretty friggin' traumatic to literally have your heart impaled, basically die, and then have it reforged, and your wounds instantly healed. I wake up. I feel sick. My whole body is in pain, and I have a sharp headache each time my heart throbs. Hey, like, at least you're not getting, organ rejection. That would really suck. She did basically build a new one. What happened? I can't remember because of the sharp headache. My body is cold, probably from lying on the floor for a long time. The only certain thing is my ripped uniform and my own blood on the floor. I like how the first thing he does. We're gonna see it in a second. I like the first thing he does. I get up with a hazy head. The spot where I was lying looks like a murder scene. So what's the natural response? We just got stabbed to death, and we've magically healed. Yeah, you really had your chest pierced. Bearing the pain, I enter the closest classroom. Moving to the locker with unsteady steps, I take out a mop and bucket. That's right, the first thing Shiro's going to do. He just recovered from being literally murdered. He can barely stand and barely think, and he's just like, oh no, there's a mess on the floor. I need to clean it up. My Twitch out. You don't think the Twitch audio is working? Really? Okay. Let's see. Is Shadow still here? Hey, Shadow, if you're in Twitch chat, can you post something? Just to test if it's working. Soy Sauce thinks the Twitch audio isn't working. I think it's just you, Soy. You might have it muted. No worries. Glad you figured it out. As I recall, there's like Chrome added a function to mute tabs. So sometimes I've done that before. Had a tab muted and gone back to it and been like, "Oops, that was a mistake." All right. I'm still confused. Much like Shadow, and you with your computer, Shiro is very confused. Why do I think I have to clean up when I just met something totally outrageous and got killed instantly? Am I an idiot? You know what, Shiro? You might very well be. I wiped the floor with the mop. With unsteady hands, I managed to get the blood wiped off and pick up any trash lying around and put it in my pocket. Maybe I'm destroying the evidence. I'm still in a daze, so perhaps that's why I'm doing something so absurd. It's alright, my man. I put the mop in bucket. Put the mop and bucket back and leave the school like a zombie. I get hotter as I walk. The air is so cold, but it feels like my body is burning. When I get home, the day has already changed. But we didn't have a date change. There's no one home. Neither Fujine nor Sakura is around now. I collapse to the floor. I lie on the ground and finally calm down. I take a deep breath. When I inhale, my heart cries in pain as if cracking apart. No, that's wrong. It wasn't just cracked. It had a hole in it, but it healed, and the wound tries to open up again when I inhale. No, that's wrong. That's wrong too. I wasn't almost killed. I was actually killed. But I'm still alive in spite of that because someone saved me. Yeah, a normal 2 a.m. Yeah, just get like stabbed, walk home from school. What was I doing at school at 1 a.m.? Nobody knows. Right, lying dead. Sleeping like the grave. Since the person was there, that person might have something to do with them. But that makes no difference to the fact that the person saved me. I have to thank them one of these days. I like the way that goes. It clearly delineates that the author is at least competent enough to know that what the audience knows is not what the protagonist knows. Like, you know the voice of the person who saved him and will remember that. Especially if you hear that voice again. But Shiro didn't quite make that out, so he didn't hear it. But they put it in the scene together. kind of divorced it. Even though you're doing like first person perspective, you still have a little bit more knowledge than Shiro. And they delivered that and made it clear to you, the viewer, that they'll be doing that in a very, very impactful and efficient way. The moment I let my guard down, the pain returns. I think that's a good way to write things. At the very least, it makes sense here. At the same time, I feel like vomiting. You just grew a new heart, man. I sit up and resist the sickness. I place my hand on my bare chest where the uniform is ripped. Even though I was saved, I did have a hole in my chest. That feeling. Such an unpleasant feeling, a spearhead entering my body, isn't something I can forget easily.
くそ、しばらく夢に見るぞ、これ。
Shiro having nightmares? No. Shiro dreams about swords. Not the spear. In fact, I predict he will not dream about the spear. He'll not have a dream about the spear stabbing him again and again and again. It's gonna be all swords. And hills. Actually, I don't actually know what he dreams in Heaven's Feel Route. If I close my eyes, it feels like the lance is still in me. I shake off that illusion and try to calm down. The result of all that training every night, I'm starting to calm down. Just taking a few deep breaths clears my mind, and the heat and nausea vanish from my body.
それで、あれのことだけど。
A man in blue and a man in red. They looked human, but I don't think they were. Were they like ghosts or something? But I've never heard of ghosts with form, able to associate directly with people. And then we're talking too. If they have their own will, it's hard for me to think of them as ghosts. I've heard that the only ghosts with a body are spirits, but aren't they shaped differently from humans?
いや、問題はそんなじゃなくて。
There's another fundamental problem. Those two who are killing each other. The murderous burglar that has appeared in the neighborhood. The ongoing ominous events in Fuyuki City. All I can tell with such thoughts is that it's way out of my league.
こんな時、親父が生きてれば。
If father was alive, yeah. Mario's. Mario wouldn't survive that either. Mario dies to literally anything. If he touches anything with anything other than his feet, he's just dead. Can literally walk into someone on the street, instantly walk into someone in the street, instantly dead. It's Mario. I feel like we cheated though. We kind of got someone to save our asses this time, but we're not permanently dead, at least. Perhaps because the wound on my chest is so vivid, I complain about things I shouldn't.
わからなくても、自分にできることをやるって決めてるじゃないか。
I'm curious whether I feel like this starts out as our protagonist in the passive form. He's not actively causing his own. Maybe he has caused it. His choice to... I was thinking about active and passive protagonists as I've been listening to a bunch of film reviews during work. I don't know why. Unrelated reasons. And I'm like, is Shiro being passive or active? Things are happening to him, but some of them are sort of his fault. Like, I feel like he's still going out of his way to make choices and do things, and they're all leading him to this. He made the choice to stay later than normal, and to go above and beyond what Shinji asked him to do, which is why he's so late. So I feel like that helps put him in the favorable category of active protagonist. Even if he's not searching out the conflict, he stayed late on purpose, and then he heard something, and he went and investigated it. Imagine summoning a Lancer. Or a lance in the... The person who summoned Lancer actually is like one of his biggest fans. Who wanted to. Alas, instead, a certain other person summoned Lancer. Anyway. Complaining comes later. First, I have to decide whether or not it's my concern. Is this spirits thing my problem? Look, Shiro's immediately trying to think, do I want to do something about this? Unfortunately here, we're being a little bit passive, but we're thinking about doing something about this. It's like, do we want to investigate this? Maybe. Maybe I do. The fact that he's even thinking about this tells me that he's a character who might actually do something, even if he wasn't being about to be attacked by Lancer. Like, obviously someone's attacking him, but he's already thinking, and you can tell from his internal monologue, he's like, I might need to do something about this. It's like, I've never gone in and fought anyone, definitely not any of these crazy spirits, but do I need to do something about this? Maybe. The bell hung from the ceiling rings. This is a Magus house, even if only a poor one. There is a boundary field that alerts me when a stranger enters the property.
こんな時に泥棒が。
As I speak, I realize my foolishness. That can't be it. With this timing, right after that strange incident, that can't be it. There's an intruder. Not a burglar, but an assassin here for my life. Because I remember that guy saying, "You saw us, so die." The house is filled with silence. In the silent darkness, the murderous intent I felt at school is slowly drawing closer. My throat gulps. I feel a sharp chill running down my spine. I will be instantly pierced if I move from this room. I frantically contain the scream about to escape my mouth. The instant I release it, the assassin will happily jump in and take the opportunity to kill me. If that happens, it will be just like before. Unprepared, I will be pierced by that lance again. The moment I think about it, my breathing goes wild. Damn it. I'm ashamed I'm about to give up my saved life so easily, and that I'm afraid. Gritting my teeth and holding my chest, I try to restrain myself. I should get used to it. This is the second time. This is the second time I'm about to be killed. That alone is enough to make me want it to end differently from last time. Besides, I'm a Magus. What have I been learning for the past 8 years so I can't even protect my own life?
やってやろうじゃないか。
Enough thinking. Right now, I just have to counter the intruder.
まずは武器をどうにかしないと。
Even though I'm a Magus, all I can do is strengthen something that could be a weapon. To fight, I need a weapon. The shed has lots of things that could become weapons, but it's too far away. I like this train of thought. I actually like this. I know that I've already read this scene before, but I like this line. And I like it specifically because in his head, he's not running to the shed purely randomly. He's actually thinking, there is probably something I can use as a weapon in the shed to save me. I mean, kind of overconfident. There's probably not too many magic weapons in the shed. But it's a plan. He's not just randomly running outside, trying to get into cover, and runs into a dead end like an idiot. He's like, I'm going to the shed specifically. I want to go there. I'm going out the back door because I think the shed might have a weapon to save me. That part is not clear in any of the visual adaptations, by the way. If I'm attacked when I leave the living room, it will just be a repeat of what happened earlier. It'll be difficult, but I have to find a weapon here. Something long and thin would be best. My opponent's weapon is a lance, so something like a knife won't do. It would be great if there was a wooden sword or something, but of course there's nothing. If anything could be a weapon, it's...
藤姉が置いてったポスターしかね
only the poster. I'm disappointed. But despite that, I'm determined, even in this hopeless situation. Things are already as bad as they can be, so they can't get any worse. So all I have to do is run forward until I run out of energy.
トレス
I like how in the last, well, not the last scene, a scene and a half ago at the Emiya household, we randomly had this dumbass poster gag where they sword fight with posters, and you know, it turns out that Taiga has like aluminum or whatever poster and is whacking at you. You think the first time you read this, you're like, that was a funny gag, and then we turn around and it's actually a relevant plot point, or like a relevant point to the a later life and death situation, that there's a poster in the room at all that's just sitting there rolled up because they thought the poster was stupid. What a great scene. What a great scene. They do like, it's like a great setup scene because it's not clearly conveyed as a setup scene. It's like this amusing comedic moment, and then it turns out to be relevant and a dramatic moment in a way you definitely weren't expecting. With the words that suggest my reconstruction, I channel magical energy into the 60-centimeter long poster. I have to turn it into something that can repel the lance, so I need to channel magical energy into every corner and solidify it.
構成材質解明
I extend my consciousness. As if soaking my blood into the poster through my skin, I permeate magical energy into it.
構成材質補強
A sense that I've hit the bottom. Right before the magical energy overflows from it,
トレスオフ
I cut off all connection with the poster and shudder at the feeling of success. Sounds like you have a thing for blondes. I can't blame you. Ereshkigal is pretty cute. A Rin face and a blonde. That's a good combination. Also being goddess of the underworld. Pretty handy. There are a lot of blondes in Fate. Probably helps that the face character of the franchise is blonde. But just a little. At long last, we succeeded. After 2 whole nights of repeated failure, we've managed to achieve the best archer is a blonde. Yeah, Goldie is a good archer. He's a blonde. I actually forgot that for a second. Gilgamesh is blonde. Saber's blonde. There's a blonde Rin. The poster is now hard as metal. But it is as light as it was before, so I couldn't ask for a better sword. Perfect. It's light. It's hard as steel. It doesn't... Oh, wait, it doesn't cut. Never mind. It's just a baton.
うまくいった
More like a... Your best caster is blonde. Your best caster is Caster Gilgamesh, right? How many years has it been since I last succeeded the strengthening magic? It's kind of ironic. The magic I've never been able to achieve since Kiritsugu died is finally working in this kind of a situation. Ah, Nero. LOL. Nero Caster. This is why Shadow's here. He's a man after my own heart. Nero's his best caster. Because Nero is the best caster. It's kind of ironic. The magic I've never been able to achieve since Kiritsugu died is finally working in this kind of a situation. You know, man, sometimes people just work better under pressure. Sometimes you need that pressure to get you really pushing yourself.
ともあれこれで
Well, now, I might be able to do something. I might have some knowledge of how to use a sword. Well, I do have some knowledge. I hold the poster with both hands and stand up. I'll die anyway if I stay here, and I don't think I would be able to flee even if I escaped this house. So all I can do is to run straight to the shed and make a stronger weapon. Come if you're gonna come. It won't be like before, and the instant I think that, my whole spine shivers. When did he arrive? Appearing from the ceiling, the guy drops straight at me. Silver light descends upon me. The guy that seems to have come straight through the ceiling descends to pierce my head. I frantically escape by rolling forward. He lands softly while I keep rolling, but I stop rolling and stand with my freshly made sword in hand. He turns to face me, looking bored. He looks more irritated than bored, to be honest. That's an irritated face, not a bored face.
余計な手間を見えていればいたかろうと俺なりの配慮だったのだがな
He raises his lance again, seemingly uninterested, causing him unnecessary troubles. Yeah, I guess we are. I don't know why, but he lacks the spirit he had at the school ground. In that case, I might be able to outwit him. Yeah, he doesn't seem to want to fight or kill you. Kind of just irritated.
一日に同じ人間を二度殺す羽目になるとはないつになろうと人の世は血生臭いということか
The man is complaining as if he thinks nothing of me. I slowly move backwards. It's about 3 more meters to the window. Once out the window, it's about 20 meters to the shed. Then I can run off this instant.
じゃあな今度こそ迷うなよ坊主
He says blankly as if sighing it out. See ya. Don't come back this time, kid. Pain assails my right arm. It happened in an instant. The man's lance is thrust without time for me to react. I would have faced my second death with that blow, but what prevented it was my newly made sword. He must have thought it was just paper. The lance, thrust as if the poster wasn't there, was deflected by it and only skimmed my right arm.
ほう変わった芸風だなおい
That's a strange technique you have there. Indeed it is. The man's expression goes away. His carelessness disappears and now he's staring at me with beast-like eyes. Wouldn't want to be made a fool of twice, right? Well, 3 times at this point. I screwed up. I was just being stupidly optimistic when I thought I could do something. The thing before me is a monster beyond belief. Painfully, I realize my foolishness for letting my guard down even slightly against him. That's right. If I'd been really desperate, I should have ran frantically to the window as soon as I miraculously avoided his first attack.
ただの坊主かと思ったがなるほど微弱だが魔力を感じる心臓をうがたれて生きているってのはそういうことか
A great opportunity for people who love everyone's favorite Mexican goddess, Quetzalcoatl. He's good. Everyone's favorite One-san? Maybe next to Taiga, depending on if you like Taiga or not. He points his lance at me. Yep, he figured out we're magic. I won't be able to block it. I can't possibly block that lightning-fast blow. If his weapon were a sword, I might have been able to at least prepare for it. But that's a lance. A sword follows a line, but a lance has a point. How am I supposed to block a blow from a point I can't even see coming?
いいぜ少しは楽しめそうじゃないか
The man's body descends. In that instant, his lance is swung sideways. I like the gift of Quetzalcoatl more than anything. Dodge a... If you can dodge a lance, you can dodge a ball. Oh, wait, I got that the wrong way. You can dodge a ball, you can dodge a lance. Shiro's practicing with the lance first, though. He hasn't played enough dodgeball. I blocked the lance coming at my face with just my instincts. There's a huge whirlwind. I don't know how he's moving the lance in this small room, but it makes a beautiful arc and comes to attack my body from the other side. My constructed sword moved to block. Stop it. Bends. This is why you parry instead of blocking, Shiro. Is he using a hammer? Damn, this numbness feels like I've broken the bones in my arm. I swing the sword instinctively. He must take me lightly as he hasn't pulled back his lance, so I flick away the shaft with my sword. The arms that hit it go numb. The sword bends even more and the man's lance only moves slightly. The man was just playing with me. He let me hit him once, since I blocked him twice. But I used up my one and only chance, just for a makeshift attack. Oh. Yeah, you used your only chance for a makeshift attack. That's why he sees no point in fighting me anymore. He knows you're bad at attacking. He readies his lance again. During that small, unnecessary movement, without looking behind me, I jump out the window. I break the window with my back and roll outside. I roll a few times, get up, and without a thought, I turn and swing behind me. The man hesitates a moment as I deflected his lance thrust. As I expected. If I jumped out the window, he would definitely come after me. And he would kill me even before I could get up. That's why I expected the fatal blow and swung at it. It was a bold plan. I would have died if it was a second too late or a second too early, but considering the difference in our skill, I could never have been too early. All I had to do was get up as fast as possible and swing at what was coming behind me. The result was perfect. I won my bet and deflected the man's lance. I quickly regained my balance. Now I have to make it to the shed before he recovers. The man who supposedly had his lance knocked away comes up to me empty-handed and spins and executes a roundhouse kick. The classic Chuck Norris kick. We're getting roundhouse. Where are we getting roundhouse to? The scenery flies past me. My battered chest is numb and I cannot breathe. No, what's more surprising is I'm flying. I never in my dreams thought I would be sent flying by a mere roundhouse kick. Yeah, that probably hurt. I fall through the ground from my back. I hit a wall and come crashing down. A wall? I can't breathe. My vision is blurred. I manage to stand, supporting myself against the wall of my destination. The shed. Mario Norris. He's like the opposite of Chuck Norris because he fucking dies instead. Instead of everyone being afraid of him, he dies. Everything kills him. Well, we got kicked 20 meters straight in a single blow. I can see how that would knock the wind out of our sails. I track the man with my blurry vision. I must have been kicked 20 meters. The man approaches, lance in hand. I'll be killed. I'll definitely be killed. The man will be here in a second. If I don't want to die now, I have to get up and face him. The lance comes out at me. I can't even turn around fully, and my collapsing body faces the man's lance.
男だったらちゃんと立ってる。
How fortunate. I got lucky as I couldn't hold myself up and my knees collapsed. The lance goes over my head and hits the door of the shed, opening it. This is like my experience when I play Dark Souls. It's like, oh, I'll take a swing at this enemy. Oh, they're just on a slightly different vertical plane, and my horizontal sweep will miss them. You're just like, really? This random ass doggo is gonna bite me to death? I mean, it doesn't usually happen. I've gotten used to it. But my first time playing Dark Souls, I swear I had that happen to me like 5 times. It was hella annoying. So this is my last chance. If I go in the shed, there should be something I could use as a weapon. This is why you want that, like, attack arc, you know. Tiny point, lots of damage, piercing damage, also misses if you miss that point. I enter the shed on all 4s. There. A fatal, inescapable blow is thrust. And I block it. I unroll the poster and make it into a one-time shield. A huge impact. The opened up poster did block the lance, but it was not strong enough. It's pierced through and transforms back into its original paper. Hit by the impact of the thrust lance, I'm flung to the wall. I fall on my ass and recover myself. When I raise my head to try and find a weapon, the man is pointing the lance at me. This is it. The man's lance is pointed directly at my heart. I know this. This is the smell of death I felt just a few hours ago. You can hear the heartbeats, right?
Shikashi, わからねえな。起点は聞くくせに魔術はからっきしときた。筋はいいようだが、まだ若すぎたか。
I can't hear him. My mind is focused only on the weapon in front of me. It's only natural, because I'll die when that thing is thrust. Everything else is gone from my mind. What else can I think about now that things have ended up like this?
もしやとは思うが、お前が7人目だったのかもな。ま、だとしてもこれで終わりなんだが。
The man's arm moves. The movement I couldn't even see before looks like it's in slow motion now. The running silver light. The spearhead moves straight for my heart. It will spill blood in the next second. I know this feeling. Feeling of metal running into me. The taste of blood coming up my throat. The sense of the world around me disappearing. I felt all of it earlier. And I have to experience it again? Really? I don't understand. Why do I have to go through this? This is bullshit. I can't accept this. I can't just die here meaninglessly. I was saved. I was saved, so I can't die so easily. I have to live and fulfill my obligations. If I die, I can't do that. But the lance will pierce me. The spearhead will cut into my flesh and pierce my heart. Pisses me off. It's ridiculous to kill someone that easily. It's ridiculous for me to die so easily. Dying twice in one day, that's ridiculous as well. Damn, everything is so screwed up. I can't contain it all in. I won't be killed meaninglessly by someone like you. Screaming that in his head. Truly it appeared like magic. In a blinding light, it appears from behind me. My mind stops. All I know is that the figure who appeared is a girl. The moment it appears, it repels the lance thrust at my heart and steps up to the enemy without hesitation.
本気か。7人目のサーバントだと。
The man readies his deflected lance, and the girl swings something she's holding. Sparks fly twice. A strong swing. The man hesitates, receiving a heavy blow from the girl. He must have realized he is at a disadvantage as he jumps out of the shed with bestial speed. While keeping her guard up against the man, she quietly turns to me. The wind is strong today. The clouds drift and the moon appears for a brief moment. The silver light that shines into the shed lights up the girl in knightly form. I'm speechless. Not because I'm confused by the sudden turn of events. I'm at a loss for words because of this girl's overwhelming beauty. The girl stares at me emotionlessly with her jewel-like eyes.
とう、あなたが私のマスターか。
And with that final line, I think we're gonna end it for tonight. You guys want to see some more Heaven's Feel stuff? Well, you'll have to come back and see me next time. Or just watch the next part. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're watching a VOD. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. When's the torture? I mean, Dark Souls stream. I don't know, but I don't know when. I don't have a Dark Souls rerun planned in the near future. It would be fun to play. I might get around to playing it again in a while. It's one of my favorite franchises. If they put Bloodborne on PC at some point, I'd definitely do that the day it comes out. I mean, I've already beaten Bloodborne, but the next stream of Heaven's Feel is probably going to be Sunday. A little bit earlier than this one started. And of course there'll be another one Tuesday, doing Sundays and Tuesdays for Heaven's Feel. But otherwise I'll be doing probably some Grand Order and Yakuza tomorrow. So it's been nice hanging out with you guys. I hope you have a great evening, or a great morning, or a great afternoon, wherever you are. But I'm heading out. So have a good one. I'll see you next time. Bye.